Hi, I'm Eliza. Welcome to the Focus Endurance Test. Thank you so much for volunteering to participate in this experiment. So you should have already thoroughly, carefully read the participant information sheet. Good. And signed the waiver. Okay, great. So just to reiterate what you will have already read, this is an endurance test for your focus and attention span. The test will last 20 to 30 minutes in its entirety. However, it's very rare for people to endure the entire experiment. For most people, it takes several tries to make it through to the end of the experiment, and many do not complete it at all, and that's completely fine. Okay, so at any point when you feel unable to continue, just let me know and we will end the experiment then. Okay, so please don't feel any pressure. There's absolutely no shame in ending the experiment when you need to. Okay, so I'll check in with you after each test, but even during a test, if you feel unable to continue, just let me know and we'll wrap things up. Okay, do you understand and do you have any questions? Okay, wonderful. Then we can begin. So the first test that we will do is very simple. I have this yellow square of paper and I have this light. It is not too bright. I'm going to hold it behind the paper like so. Okay, good. What I'm going to do is write a letter behind the paper with the light, and I'd like you to tell me what letter I'm writing. And as best as you can, to keep your eyes trained on the light moving behind the paper. Do you understand? Good. Let's begin. What letter am I writing? What letter was that? Good. It was the letter E. And now, what letter was that? Very well done. It was the letter H. What letter is this? Good. It was the letter G. What letter? Good. It was B. And the final letter now. What letter was that? Excellent. It was the letter X. Well done. You can just rest now. Okay, so how are you feeling after that test? You're feeling okay? Good. Well, you absolutely flew through that test. It didn't seem like it was giving you any issues at all. Good. You still feel able to focus, to comprehend. Okay, so would you like to move into test number 2? Or would you like to finish? You'd like to continue? Wonderful. Okay, well, let's move into test number 2 then. Let me just make a few notes. Okay, now test number 2, slightly different. So I have these 2 cups, and inside one of them is a blue pom-pom. Looks like so, okay? And what I'm going to do is put the pom-pom in one of the cups, put them together, shake them around, and then ask you which cup the pom-pom is in. Okay? Do you understand? Good. let's begin now for real. So the pom-pom is in this cup to begin with. Okay, which cup is the pom-pom in? Good, it is in this one. Very well done. And again. Which cup is the pom-pom in? Okay. It's in this one again. Good. Which cup is the pom-pom in? It is in this one. Good. Which cup is the pom-pom in? It is this one. Very well done. Which cup is the pom-pom in? It is this one again. Okay. Which cup is the pom-pom in? It was this one. And the final round now. Which cup is the pom-pom in? It's in this one. Good. Okay. You can just have a little rest now. Okay. Can I ask you how you're feeling now? You're still feeling okay? Good. Wonderful. Do you have any sleepiness, any kind of blurred vision, any physical symptoms? You're not feeling too fatigued? Okay. So would you like to continue to the third test? You would? Wow, okay. Well done. You are doing extremely well. Good. So the next test, one second, let me just make a note that you're not experiencing any physical symptoms. Good. So the next test, I have these two kind of Halloween themed props, these two sticks. What I'm going to ask you is to look at one and then look at the other. It's very simple in concept, but it can be challenging. So like I said, just do your best. And if you need to stop at any point, just let me know, okay? Good. So to begin with, I would like you to just focus on this bat. Please just focus on the bat, okay? I'm going to move it around. I'm going to move it from side to side. Just keep focusing on it with your eyes. Good. Keep looking at the bat. And I'm going to move the other one. Just look at the bat. Don't get distracted. Keep looking at the bat. Good. Very well done. Now looking at the pumpkin. Good. Just looking at the pumpkin. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Good. Look at the bat. Look at the pumpkin. Look at the bat. Look at the pumpkin. Look at the bat. Keep looking at the bat, the bat, the bat. Good. Look at the pumpkin now. Good. Very well done. Now I'd like you to look at whichever one is spinning. Good. Keep looking at whichever one is spinning. Good. Okay. Now I want you to look at whichever one is closer to you. Keep looking at whichever one is closer to you. Good, just a few more moments. Keep looking at whichever one is closer. Whichever one is closer. Whichever one is closer. Good. Now I want you to focus on my nose and to ignore the both of them. Good. Just focusing on my nose. Not getting distracted. Just a few more moments. Very well done. Okay. You can just relax for a moment. Okay. I'd just like to check in with you after that one. That test is quite a step up from the previous two, and it is where a lot of people decide to end the test. How are you feeling after that? Really? Okay, wow. Have you done something like this before? Any kind of focus endurance tests? Any endurance training or no? Okay. Wow, well, good. I'm glad that you're feeling okay. Please remember you don't have to be a hero, and just know you're really feeling okay. Wonderful. Alright then. And what kind of physical symptoms are you experiencing? Any blurriness, dizziness, fatigue, heavy eyes? No? Okay. Wow. Well. Okay. So I take it you would like to continue to the next test? Okay, great. So the next test, something different again. I would like you to focus on my nose, much like we did before. This time I'm going to bring in objects into your peripheral vision and ask you questions about them. And I need you to just look at my nose, to not look at the objects, not look directly at the objects that I bring in. Just notice them in your peripheral vision. And then at the end, then I will permit you to look directly at them. Okay. Okay. So looking at my nose, please. I'm going to bring in an object. Okay. Did you notice the object? Good. Can you tell me what color the object is? This object. Good. It is pink. Okay. Can you tell me how many times you see this object? Are you ready? Okay, how many times was that? Good. It was 3 times. Very well done. And still looking at my nose, can you tell me what animal this is? Just in your peripheral vision. Good. It is a pig. You can look directly at it now. Well done. It is this pink pig. Good. Looking back to my nose now. Can you see any object in your peripheral vision? How many objects? You can see 2. Good. And the object that is closer to you, is it on your left or your right? Good. And now, left or your right, which but just closer. Okay. And now. Good. Right is closer. And now. But just closer. Good. It is the left. Your left. This object in your peripheral vision now. Can you tell me what the predominant colour is? Good. And can you tell me what animal you think it is? Okay, good. You can look directly at it. Very well done. It is a chicken. A little chicken. Good. Still looking at my nose now. What colour is the object in your peripheral vision now? What is the predominant colour? Okay. And now, what is the predominant colour? Okay. And now. And now. And now. And now. Good. What is the animal that you can see now? What animal is this? Good. It is a horse. You can look directly at it. It is a horse. Good. And looking again at my nose. What animal is this? Good. You can look directly at it. It is the cow. The cow. Okay. Good. Very well done. Just have a little rest. Okay. So, just to check in with you, that can be a very draining test to avoid that, to avoid looking in your peripheral vision. That is something that's very challenging. So I'm sure you're feeling somewhat fatigued after that. Okay, right, so you're feeling a bit tired, but not too fatigued. Okay. And what are your other symptoms? Are your eyes feeling heavy? Yeah, okay. Does it feel like a lot of effort to keep them open? Does it feel unbearable to keep them open? No, it feels relatively easy. Okay, wow. And it doesn't seem like you're slurring your words at all, so that's a very good sign. And you're making eye contact with me now still, and you're coherent, so it seems like you are in pretty good shape after doing those very challenging tests. But there's still absolutely no shame at all if you would like to call it a day now and wrap things up. You'd like to continue. Okay. Wow. Like I said, please feel no pressure. There's absolutely no shame in finishing the test. No, you feel able to continue. Okay. Wow. Well, that's really wonderful to hear. That's very exciting to hear. I'll just make a few notes about your physical condition, and then we can move on to the next test. Okay, so the next test involves these coloured love heart markers, and I'm going to instruct you to look at different colours, okay? Are you ready to begin? Are you sure you don't need a little longer to rest? You ready to continue now? Okay. Well, So, to begin with, I would just like you to look wherever I tell you to look, okay? So let's begin. Can you look at the pink? Look at the blue. Look at the green. Look at the yellow. Okay, a little bit faster now. Look orange. Look yellow. Look purple. Look at the red. Look at the green. Look at the pink. Look at the blue. Look at the yellow. Good. Look at the blue. Look at the orange. Look at the red. Look at the pink. Look at the green. Look at the yellow. Look at the purple. Look at the orange. Good. Now I would like you to look wherever I tap and ignore wherever I say. Okay? So if I say look at the pink, but I'm tapping here, then you should look here. Okay. Let's continue. Look at the orange. Look at the green. Look at the pink. Look at the blue. Yellow. Look at the orange. Look at the blue. Look at the red. Look at the green. Look at the purple. Look at the yellow. Look at the red. Look at the green. Look at the yellow. Look at the orange. Look at the blue. Look at the green. Look at the red. Look at the yellow. Look at the pink. Good. Very well done. Now I'd like you to do the opposite. So I'd like you to look wherever I say and ignore wherever I tap. Okay. Good. Let's go. Look at the yellow. Looking at the yellow. Look at the purple. Look at the pink. Look at the green. Look at the orange. Look at the yellow. Look at the blue. Look at the red. Look at the green. Look at the yellow. Look at the purple. Look at the pink. Look at the blue. Look at the green. Look at the orange. Good. Very well done. I'll let you have a little rest while I make some notes. Okay. So, how are you feeling after that test? Okay, you're still feeling alright? You're very brave. How is your fatigue, that tiredness that you're feeling? Okay, it's still quite manageable. And those heavy eyes, still manageable. How's your cognition? Do you feel like you're able to think clearly? Okay, well, yeah, it does still sound like you are coherent and able to understand my questions, so that's a really great sign. So, would you like to leave the test here? We can continue another date, or would you like to continue now? You would like to continue now? Okay. You know, I really hope that you are not trying to be a hero with this. Okay, just make sure that you're not pushing yourself beyond what is comfortable for you, okay? Okay, I'll just make some notes. Okay, would you like a little longer to rest? No, you'd like to continue straight away. Okay, well, let's continue. So, we have just 2 more tests. So this is the penultimate one. So for this, I just want you to count how many times I click with this clicker, like so. Okay, and I'll also be making some hand movement and other sounds that might distract you. Okay, so I'd like you to try your best to keep count. Okay, are you ready to begin? Good. How many was that? Good, it was 3. And again. Okay, how many clicks was that? Good, it was 4. Well done. How many clicks? How many clicks was that? Yes, well done. It was 4. Good. And again, how many clicks? How many clicks? Excellent. Yes, it was 3. And then final round, how many clicks? Okay, how many clicks? Very well done. That is correct. Okay, please rest for a moment now. Okay, how are you feeling? Quite tired now? Yeah. And how does that feel? Does it feel unmanageable? It still feels manageable? Okay. Any blurred vision? Any dizziness? Any dark spots? Okay. You feel like your vision is fine? Okay. And your comprehension, your cognition, it also feels fine. Do you have any headaches? Not at all. Okay. Interesting. And you're sure that you've never done anything like this before? Okay. Well, it's very interesting. So it sounds like you would like to continue. You would. Okay. And just to be clear, there's absolutely no pressure. We can stop this and pick this up at a different day. You would like to continue. Okay. You're exceptionally brave. So I'm just making a few notes about your physical condition. That you are still sound of mind. And you've chosen to continue this test. Okay. So for the final test, I'm going to bring back the light that we had earlier. I'm just going to be asking you to look in a few different places. We'll start slow and gradually get faster, okay? So to begin, can can you look at the light and look at my finger? Look at the light and look at my finger. Look at the light, look at my finger, and look at my nose. Look at the light, look at my finger, look at my nose. Look at the light, look at my nose, look at my finger. Look at the light, look at my finger, look at my nose. Look at my finger, look at the light, look up. Look at my nose, look at the light, look at my finger, look down. Look at my nose, look at the lamp. Do you see the lamp? Look at the lamp. Look at the light, look at my nose, look at my finger, look at the lamp. The light, my finger, my nose, look down. Look up. Look at the light, look at my nose, look at my finger, look at the light. Look at the lamp. Look up. Look at my finger, look at the light, look at my finger, look at my nose, look at the light, look up, look at the light, look down, look at my finger, look at my nose, look at my finger, look at my nose, look at the light, look at the lamp, look at my nose, look at the light, look up, look at my nose, look at my finger, look at the light, look down, look at the lamp, look at my nose. Good, okay. Wow, just rest for a moment. I'm just making some notes. Okay, so that is the end of this focus endurance test, phase 1. Congratulations, you completed the entirety of phase 1 in just one sitting, which is really, really rare. So congratulations. How are you feeling now? Are you feeling dizzy? How's that headache? Still no headache, okay. And that tiredness, that fatigue, it's a little bit stronger now, okay. Well, you're still doing a really good job of maintaining this conversation with me. It still sounds like you're able to comprehend what I'm saying. You're not slurring your words. So you seem like you have done incredibly well after being put through those very strenuous exercises. Okay, I'm just going to make a few notes about your condition. Do you have any other symptoms that you would like to mention? Okay, just a feeling of heaviness in your body. Okay. Okay. Well, that is the end of our experiment today. So I will leave you in this room to rest and recover. You have this room for the next 10 hours, so you can just drift right into sleep if that's what you would like to do. Okay, and if you would be willing to participate in phase 2, I think it would be so valuable to have someone of your natural ability in this experiment. It would be really amazing to be able to study you in more detail, because you do seem incredibly naturally gifted with this focus endurance. So okay, I'll leave you now to rest. I don't want to bombard you with a lot of information or questions, okay? So I'll just leave you now to rest.